Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Aisha and I'm here with another video for you. This is going to be another informational suggestion based video. This one is titled How to Find the Right Daycare for You. Parents, I know this is a hard decision to make. It comes with a lot of anxiety, and I'm here to help soothe your anxiety. These are suggestions that I would make as an early childhood educator. These are tips. This is not advice. I don't want you to blame me for your decisions or choices. These are things that I would do as an early childhood educator and as a former daycare employee. Make sure you stay tuned, like, and comment below. All right, so I have this video broken into 5 sections that you can analyze for yourself. Now, the first section is things to do prior to communicating with the center. So this is before you even reach out. You're going to have done these things to decide if they're even worth reaching out to. The second step is for you to actually call or email the center, and you're going to ask them the following questions. The third step are things to look for once you visit the center and you complete your tour. Hopefully you're able to complete it during business hours so you can see how things operate. But now that we have different safety limits, you may not be able to, but hopefully you can get inside the facility. The fourth thing are red flags in a daycare. I would avoid daycares that you see a multitude of things off this list. And the fifth item is things to think about in general, because like I said, this is a huge decision. Your child is going to be with these individuals for a majority of their time in the day, so you want to make sure you make the best choice possible for your family. The things to do prior to the interview, the tour, or even communicating with the center. The first thing I want you to do, I want you to check their social media. Do they have any new events? Are they active in the community? If you decided to go with the center, you as a parent or guardian, would you be able to work in the center and volunteer? The second thing I want you to do is check for the reviews. What are the reviews saying? People typically do not lie on reviews of childcare centers. They're usually done from the heart and out of pure emotion. So those are where you're going to get a lot of honest remarks. The third thing I want you to do is ask around. Word of mouth is always a great option. Post the status on Facebook. Hey, has anyone ever sent their child to this so-and-so center? How was it? Do you have any feedback for me? Yada, yada, yada. And then also the doctor's office. Sometimes doctor's office has postings of childcare centers that they would recommend you to send your child to. Or you may even want to ask your doctor or a nurse in there and say, hello, do you all recommend any childcare centers in the area? Your second step is going to be check your state's licensing website. So in Michigan, it is called LARA. So you would Google Michigan Childcare Licensing, and LARA would pop up, which stands for Licensing Regulatory Affairs. Alrighty, so licensing has all of the inspection reports. So in order to be licensed by the state, you have to get checked by a licensing agent, and they're going to complete a multitude of things to see if you are in good standing by the state standards, right? So you're going to check that and see, is this school getting lots of marks or written up multiple times for the same thing? Are they getting written up for different things each time they get a licensing review? So those are called inspection reports. And then you're going to have a corrective action plan if they do get written up for licensing. You want to see how long did they take to complete this. After the next time licensing comes and checks, did this center complete the action plan that they decided to give to licensing? What is their action plan? Is that something you would be okay with as a parent, to sending your kid there and this is what they decided to do to correct whatever licensing has gave them some form of punitive action? Then you're going to check the website of the center. Is it professional? Was there actual money put into this website? Is it a real website? Is it just a Facebook page? You want to see if they have the business hours, the days of operation. You want to see if they have their schedule on, their meal plans, their different packages you can get, any activities that they offer at the center. You want to make sure all of this is online because it shows that the center has a certain level of professionalism and it's a certain level of quality at the center. Then, if they've made it through all of those 3 steps prior to you even contacting them, and you're like, okay, yep, this is good. They're checking all the things off my list that I like. Now you're actually going to contact them. You're going to call them up. How is their customer service? Are they greeting you, welcoming you, thanking you for calling? Are they just saying hello? Or are they going to say, hello, thank you for calling Children's. How can I help you today? If they're not having good customer service on the phone, you can expect for your child not to have a warm and comforting environment. Same with emails. Is the email dry and standoffish? If it is, then I wouldn't recommend sending your child there. Alrighty? So now you're going to complete the phone call or an email before you even go in and tour this facility, because you don't want to waste your time going into a center and you didn't even ask these questions before you got there. So I want you to write these questions down now, type them on your computer or type them in your phone's notes app, because you're going to add these questions to the questions that you've already created before going to the child care center. So the first question that I have are, what are the education requirements for the staff? This is important because not everyone that has been around children can qualify as a trained quality early childhood educator. You have to go through training. You have to do the research. You have to learn the pedagogies. It is important to actually understand the process that children go through when they're learning to be a quality child care educator. A lot of big brand, national ran daycares, they typically don't have education minimum requirements that would be deemed as a quality child care center. You want to make sure that they at least have their associate's degree in early childhood development, which is we call the CDA, Child Development Associate's degree. You want to see if they have a bachelor's in early childhood development, elementary education, child development, psychology, something that relates to early childhood development. That is very important. And you want to also make sure that this center, second question, what is the continued education standards? What are you requiring your staff to do each year or every other year while they're working here? Are they staying up to date with the latest research? Are they staying up to date with the latest licensing? CPR has changed over and over again. Do they know the latest form of CPR? This is important. The next question that you're going to have is, what security measures do you follow? Can anyone just walk into the building? Can anyone walk onto the playground area? Are there cameras? Can I access these cameras? Are visitors that enter the building, are they required to get a background check? These are important questions you want to know. The third question, because I compiled the education requirements into one question, is, do you offer meals, snacks, milk? Sometimes some programs only offer breakfast and lunch, and you have to bring your own snack or you have to bring your own evening snack if your child is staying later. What are the dietary options? What if your child is vegan? Do they have anything to offer your child? Or are you going to always have to bring their child's lunch in? And are you going to get a discount for bringing their lunch because the center isn't providing lunch? If your child has a milk allergy, like they are allergic to dairy milk, are they going to provide a plant-based milk? Important. Fourth, what is your school's mission? What do they believe in is the quality of their child's education? You might see something like, our mission here is to develop young minds into early learners. The mission is important because it kind of tells you how this center operates and what they believe in. What is their morale? 5, what curriculum do you use? This is when I go into the education requirements. Curriculum is important because we want to make sure there is intentional learning going on. We don't want our kids to be going to a center where they're playing, but there's no scaffolding involved. The teachers aren't pushing them to try new things. They aren't giving them new language to use. They aren't showing and adding new materials into what they love to do. We want to make sure there's intentional playing happening. This playing, early childhood playing, is vital for their learning. We want to make sure they are playing, but we want to make sure that there's teachers there who understand how to add and make playing an educational standpoint. You can look up different curriculums and you can see which ones you think would be best for your child to implement and to be a part of. The 6th one I have is your school standard-based? Meaning, are they following certain educational standards? In order for it to be an educational standard, it has to be validated and researched. They can't just say, yeah, we've created our own objectives that we want our children to follow and our students to do this, but they have no backing and researching proving that this is important for kids' development. 7th question is, what are the school sizes ratios? This is extremely important in early childhood education because the children need adult interaction to learn. We need the children to have as much time as possible one-on-one with the staff. If there is 2 staff to 10 babies, that is not going to work because the children are not going to have enough one-on-one time with the adults to learn from them. These limits and ratios, they have to be also following whatever your state's limits and ratios are. So in Michigan, it's 2 staff for 8 infants and 2 staff for 10 toddlers. So you want to make sure you know the state standards, but even that is really hard for teachers because you have 3 babies on different feeding schedules and diapering schedules, and then you have 3 babies that are maybe a little more mobile and you've got to keep an eye on them, but you also have to feed and change these other babies that are feeding more frequently and defecating more often. The 9th question is there daily outside time for the children? We know that outside time is another vital piece in early childhood development. The kids need to be able to go outside and explore. They're sensory learners, so they need to be able to feel, touch, see the grass, the rocks, the trees. That's how they're going to learn about the nature and the world around them, is by actually being in that environment. The 10th question is, what forms of communication do you offer for the parents? So I know some are Tadpoles, Kaboo, Class Dojo, maybe they email, text, call. Also, you can use a camera system where you can look into this classroom yourself and just look, maybe not have an actual conversation with staff, but just take a peek and see if your child is doing okay. 11th question is, what are the COVID implements? For some people, these are more important than others, right? So are vaccines required from staff? Are masks required? And if a staff has a sickness, what are the procedures that they must follow? And same for the children. If a child has chickenpox, if a child has hand, foot, and mouth, if a child has ringworm, lice, etc., what are these procedures? Okay. And again, they will never be able to tell you who is in this classroom that does have a sickness because that is HIPAA regulations, but they should have some type of procedure and policy that they're following to make sure that they limit the contagion and they clean the classroom to the best ability that they have possible. 12. That goes into this. What are the sanitary cleaning procedures? All right. You want to know, how are they cleaning this site with the germy kids? We know babies have so many germs, especially when they are going to daycare, because one comes in with a cold and the other one gets a cold, and then next they're passing it to the other one. So now you have 4 babies in the classroom that have a cold, and they're passing it around because they're touching the same toys and with their mouth and saliva, and then another baby grabs it. But we want to make sure the teachers are doing the best they can to grab that toy and put it in the yucky bin and to disinfect that toy. We want to make sure teachers are cleaning the cots well. We want to make sure they're following the proper licensing diapering area procedures. So you want to know, what is the expectation? Because you want to make sure they're following it, and you want to see if that expectation fits what your expectation would be for cleaning. All right. Again, I've seen things that I wouldn't want to see in a child care center. Do I report it? Yes, but that doesn't really help because things get swept under the rug, right? But you as a parent, you can just decide not to send your child there. The 13th question I would ask is, how often are you changing diapers? Some centers do every hour, but what if your baby pees for whatever reason every 30 minutes, and you don't feel comfortable with your baby sitting in that pee because they already have a diaper rash? Can you request for your baby to get changed twice every hour? These are questions that you want to know. The 14th question I have is opportunities for families to learn new child development skills or be involved. So, does this school provide classes for parents and guardians to learn more about their children's development? And is there any opportunities for you to be involved in the classroom? We know that babies learn from adults, and it would be great, and it will make them more comfortable and trusting of their teachers if sometimes you can be involved in the classroom as well. And it helps you to learn about new child development skills that you may not have heard of before. The 15th question I would have is, what services do you offer families? Maybe you are in a financial situation where you need more support. You might need a food drive. You might need a clothing drive. You might need diapering giveaways. You might need free car seats. Does this center offer any of those services to you? Usually these will be centers that are grant-based, and they're getting funding from private supporters or government officials. So you will look into these as well, and definitely ask that question if you need it, because you want to send your kid to a school that will provide the resources that you need as a parent. The 16th question is, are you inclusive? Depending on if you're going to a school, a private or a public early childhood center, sometimes centers will turn your child away if they are requiring of special or unique services. They may not have a way for your child to get through the school on a wheelchair. They may not have staff trained in your child's medical needs that they have. You want to see if they will train their staff so your child can get the best quality experience in care that they can receive there. Are they going to dismiss your child because they can't supply whatever quality care they need? 17th is, how do you handle negative behaviors? I hate to see a center that just kicks a kid out the program because of negative behaviors. Are they working? Are they trauma trained? Do they know how to reason and to calm down and to be proactive? Are they stopping behaviors before they even happen? Instead of giving 1 ball to the kids, they're giving 10 balls to the kids? Or are they more reactive to behaviors, and then they kind of blames the choices and decisions on your children? We want to make sure that the staff understand social and emotional intelligence and development. Babies before the age of 4, they don't know the concept of sharing. They are egocentric. It's all about them. It's their world. They only see what they want. They only see what they can see. So they don't understand that they have to share a toy. right? We want to make sure that the staff understand these developmental needs of the kids. The 18th thing is, what are the discipline procedures? Do the staff have trauma smart training? Are they conscious discipline trained? What are they doing if your child is getting upset? So now maybe we're talking more the earlier ages, 3 and 4. Are they snatching the kids? Oh, I've seen that and I hated it. Report it. You got to report that. If you're watching this and you're a caregiver, report that. That is malpractice for sure. Are they yelling, being sarcastic to the kids? No, that's inappropriate. They're babies. They're under 4. They're under 5. There's no need to be sarcastic and to use foul language to babies. We want them to be encouraging. No punitive action should be used. And you want to know, what are your staff trained in to handle negative behaviors? Give me the actual information. So now you're ready to schedule your interview. So we've got the third section is what to look for once you arrive and take your tour. Hopefully you can schedule your tour during business hours. You may not be able to because they may not be able to afford to get you to get a background check. Some centers may require you to have a background check, but some centers also don't have parents that drop their kids off have background checks. So that's something you want to find out, is if you're able to tour during business hours, and if not, can you come in after business hours when there's no children available? And if they say no to that, okay, well, can I at least get a video of the school and where my children are going to be placed? So you're going to have lots of questions for them, and you're going to take lots of notes to whatever they say, because again, we don't want to just go off of a hunch. We want to make sure we're prepared. We want to make sure we don't rush this decision. So what are you looking for when you're touring a childcare center? You're looking for the space. Is there enough space for your child to run and play and to be interactive and explore? Are there emergency plans on the walls? Do they have the fire drill, tornado drill? Do they have the intruder drill up posted? And are they reviewed? Check the date on them. When was the last time these have been reviewed? Emergency exits. How close is the emergency exit? How can it be accessed? Is there an emergency safety crib? These are things you want to look for when you're at the tour, or you can just ask and write down their answers. Cameras. Are there cameras outside? That's a missed place where there's actually a lot of incidents that can happen is outside. Are there cameras out there? Are there cameras in the classroom? You want to make sure that you can access these cameras in the event of an emergency, and you need to use these for your evidence, or you want to check and see if your child is okay. The smell of the center. Does it smell like pee and poop? If it does, I would not recommend sending your child there. There should be cleaning throughout the day, constantly wiping down surfaces, constantly diapering and taking out the trash. There should be a high level of cleanliness because we know how frequently germs are spread in a child care center. Are there developmentally appropriate materials and activities in the classrooms? There should be an abundant amount of materials. You should be able to see at least 20 different activities and materials that your child can partake in, but it needs to be organized. Is it organized, or is it a hot mess? Is it new, and do the materials look fresh, or do they look old and worn out? Is the classroom look happy and upbeat, or does it look dull and boring? And we have the staff sensitivity. How are staff speaking to the children? Are they close in contact? Are they bending down low? Are they on the ground playing with the kids, or are they doing their own thing or just talking to other staff members? Are they responding to kids when they show some type of communication, or are they ignoring the child? So you have gone through contacting the initial contact of the center. You have asked them your questions before even going and doing your tour or interviewing the site director or assistant director. You have toured the center. You like what you're seeing. But now you need to go home and you need to make your pros and cons list, or you need to make your list to see which site is the best for you and your family, right? So this list here is the red flags in a daycare list. This might help you narrow down your search. So the first red flag that I have is it smells like pee, poop, vomit, or trash in the center. If it smells bad, red flag. The second is the staff are angry. You don't want to send your kids to a center where staff are angry, because they are the ones who are going to deal with that anger. And we know babies can feel energy and they can feel people's moods, and it's going to be upsetting for your child and they're not going to have the best experience. There's no receptionist or no one to answer the phone at all times. Of course, here and there they may miss a phone call because they might be short-staffed and whoever is answering the phones might have to cover a classroom. But we want to make sure that for the most times, if there's an emergency, you need to contact that center, you can get through. Next is there's no emergency plans posted. After you completed your walkthrough or they sent you a video of the school, you don't see any emergency plans posted. Staff shortages. Right now, that's a huge thing that's quite hard to avoid, but it's easier to avoid if the site is actually treating their teachers with respect. Are they paying them a livable wage? Are they offering them trainings and education? Are they taking care of the teachers, basically? If the teachers are taken care of, there's going to be less turnover at that center. If there's constant turnover, that is a red flag that teachers are not happy. And again, you don't want to send your child to a center where teachers are not happy. There are no cameras in the center. That is a huge red flag. You want to be able to either, if you can't access it, but if something were to happen and you could request permission to see what happened during a certain times, that should be an available opportunity or choice for you. They don't have a research-based curriculum for their kids. They basically just let the kids just do whatever they want all day, and there's no form of scaffolding or no intentional planning on the teacher's part. That's not where we want to send our kids either. There's no schedule. Babies need consistency. They learn through repetition. They can learn times in different parts of the day by consistently doing it, because they learn, oh, this happens after this and this happens after that, and then after this, mom picks me up. That's all a part of learning, and babies feel more comfortable when they have a consistent routine. The next red flag is that the hygiene and the cleaning procedures is not up to par. So diapering, staff aren't wearing gloves. They're not changing the gloves for each child. They're not wiping down the diapering station between each child. They're not having the kids clean and wash their hands. Parents, these are the things that you may not have known, but they need to be followed during diapering, is that staff should be wearing gloves, staff should be washing their hands and the child's hands, and the diapering area should be sanitized after each child, right? Because usually staff, what they would do is they will diaper all the babies in the classroom back to back to back. And sometimes teachers don't follow the licensing procedures of sanitation during diapering. That also goes with eating. Are staff cleaning the surfaces right before eating? If they just did art activity before, are they cleaning the tables before they start serving the food? The next thing is just cutting corners. Are they doing little things to just save on costs, but it can be detrimental to your child's health, safety? The next red flag is that your center doesn't have a website. They don't have images of the classrooms posted. There's no schedule posted, and there's no contact info on the website. Those are all red flags. The materials are old, worn out, or dirty. Red flag. The classrooms aren't developmentally appropriate for the ages. Red flag. And they have constant licensing violations. The same ones are being broken each time there's a licensing check. That means they have not fixed the problem yet. It's a continuation of the same problem, and that is not good. So here's the fifth part of my video, things to think about. I know how important this decision is, and I know how hard it is to make. So these are things to think about to kind of help you be more sure on your choice. Your child's development is affected by their surroundings, all right? So the people they're in contact with, the culture that you're raising them in, and the family values that you are incorporating into their lifestyle, that all affects their development. So think of that and put that into the child care's hands. Is this child care staff who you want your children to be around? Do you want them to learn their behaviors? Do you want them to learn their culture and their language? Do you want them to learn their values and how they are treating people and how they take care of property? Is this what you want your child to learn from them? Is this the community you want your child to be raised in? And then we know that even the music and the art that is around your child, that affects them. Are there pictures of black babies in the center and your baby is black? You're a Mexican family and they could see pictures of a Mexican woman cooking tortillas in the kitchen. They may see they may see a family of a grandmother, grandfather, mom, dad, and kids living in one household. If that's what their family lives like, do you want pictures and images of whatever your background is available in the center? And then the diet, the food that they're feeding your kids is also going to affect them developmentally, right? It may be more physical, but it also is going to affect their brain development. Is this food that they're giving them, is this going to support them and give them the most energy to get and learn as much as they can at the center? Maybe it does. Maybe they just give them lots of unhealthy foods all day. Again, this is your choice, but you want to think about all these aspects definitely affect your child's development. And then, is this the best location for your child? Do they offer outdoor play? Some centers offer things like dance and sing in a different language, which is key. If you can find a center that offers a second language, that should be a top priority. If you can. I know it's not common in America, but if you have that opportunity, I would definitely suggest doing that. As there gymnastics, karate, swimming lessons happening in your center, those are definitely important things that you want to look into. And then if there's swimming, can the parents come? And I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable if there were swimming and your parents couldn't come to the swim lessons, but that's just me. So those are the 5 steps I would take if I was looking for a child care center and I want to make sure my child gets the best possible chance at learning, because we know those first 3 years of development are key into what the next years of their life is going to be like, right? All right. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.